Well, welcome to what, just for this week, I'm going to call Secret Spaces Extra. This time last week, we were in Skipton Castle Woods. Really beautiful. Fantastic response to my walk round there with Hazel Birdsall. And it's led to another visit to, well, not quite Woodland, though that surrounds us, just one tree. And with Paul Bunton from the Woodland Trust. Hazel, you may remember, works for the Woodland Trust. And we're just coming under an archway near, just have a listen to this. Don't know quite what this was. Is there a state road above our heads? Trees and birds. It's a glorious autumn day. Paul Bunton, how are you, Paul?
Yeah, very well, thank you. As you say, glorious morning today.
Now, where are we heading? This is, well, we're surrounded by trees, but it's one tree we're heading for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We just set off from the edge of Aberford Village, and we're walking along the old colliery railway line, and we're just about to come up to a tree that's been nominated for this year's Tree of the Year.
Now, that always makes me laugh. Tree of the Year, and there are a wonderful variety of trees in different parts of the country. So what's the idea behind this?
Well, the idea is to really sort of celebrate and showcase the best trees that we have around our country, and really for people to sort of stop, take a moment in their busy lives and really appreciate these fantastic specimens.
Now, you love trees. Clearly, you've worked for the Woodland Trust, I know, for years and years and years. You're based in West Yorkshire in Woodley, but cover all over the place. So what's special about a tree? People may be thinking, come on, Tree of the Year.
Yeah, that's it. Not quite as long as the age of some of these trees. I've been at the trust, but yes, I mean they are. I mean, we all live really, really busy lives, don't we? Everyone's sort of rushing around, and to take time and see some of these fantastic trees that obviously been in these locations for some of them hundreds of years, and really to take a moment and appreciate them. The wildlife they support, the biodiversity, the fantastic environment in terms of sort of the health and well-being. They really deserve to be appreciated.
Colliery Railway is very relevant for Nellie's tree that we're heading towards. I have to admit, until last weekend, Secret Spaces, and somebody saying, do you know about Nellie's tree? I had to say, I haven't got a clue. Who was Nellie and what's the tree?
Well, this is it's fascinating, actually, this one. And as we say, all trees have their story to tell, and this one in particular. There was a young girl, Nellie, who lived in Aberford, and she was courted by a young man. He used to walk. He lived in Garforth, and he used to walk along this old railway line to see his girlfriend at the time. And he passed these three beech saplings. If you imagine, this was 100 years ago, so they would have been quite small in those days. And what he did, because there was one planted, then two on the other side, and he bent one of the beech saplings across and grafted it onto the other one across the way. So we're just actually coming up to the tree here, so you can see it actually forms the shape of the letter N for his girlfriend, for Nellie.
Well, that is sensational. We're standing right in front of it, and wow! So all these years on, that old romantic thought, I'm going to try and get this girl, N for Nellie.
Yes.
And just describe what it looks like now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're actually standing on the railway side looking at it, and in a way we want to be round the other side.
Well, let's go down. Can we step down? Then, so there's a carpet already of glory. I mean, it is a fantastic day of orange and brown leaves here. We're just stepping down a little walled area, and we're going to turn around the other side. And there it is.
And there it is.
N for Nellie.
N for Nellie. And almost you can see actually the diagonal that goes across, if you can form that in your mind. It's got another section just above it, which sort of creates like an open sort of void area in the middle. So it really is fantastic. The fact to think these are three trees.
And you can see very clearly the three separate trunks still, can't you?
Yes, yeah, exactly. But fused together, as you would do when you're grafting fruit trees or things like that.
If only you could have made it a heart shape, eh?
I know, yes. Maybe that was the idea of the central area. It didn't quite work, but no, it looks absolutely superb.
And they went on. They lived happily ever after. They had kids, didn't they?
They did. I think that's a nice thing about it, was it did actually blossom, and they did actually get married and have children. So, yeah, no, just a really nice story all round. We should mention they are beech trees, or there is a beech tree, which we haven't said. So you get this lovely sort of dappled shade that comes down. It really does stand out. And the fact it's next to the pathway, it's accessible, people can come and see it.
Somebody's just cycled past as we were talking.
Exactly, yes, and they can really appreciate it for all its glory.
Well, let's hope it's here when the children of this wonderful romantic couple live on, because I think it's actually one of the grandsons who has nominated this tree to be part of our UK history.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it is a national vote for people to put forward their favourite trees, which is run by the Woodland Trust each year. So the fact it's been nominated by the grandson is fantastic, and we'd encourage people to actually vote, for this tree. I think it's the only one in West Yorkshire or the wider Yorkshire area. And let's see it win and go through to the European Championships, which is next year.
Oh, I love that. European Championship of Trees. So here we are then, from the glorious Woodland, not far from Aberford, Parlington Lane here, this old colliery railway line, and a story of romance. It's a glorious combination of three trees entwined together. It is Nellie's tree. Well, from me, Andrew Edwards, and what just for this week is Secret Spaces Extra and our excellent guide, Paul Bunton from the Woodland Trust. Until the next time, goodbye. And if you'd like to see the pictures, we've put them up on Twitter now at BBC Leeds, and you can very clearly see that N. 18 minutes past 7, BBC Radio Leeds Saturday Breakfast. I'm Andrew Edwards. Well, not only did Vic and Nellie have children, those children had children, and one of them joins you now because that grandson I mentioned when we were walking along Parlington Lane yesterday morning, the person who nominated Nellie's tree is, I'm delighted to say, with you now, live on BBC Radio Leeds. Welcome, Christopher Lund. Hello, Christopher.
Good morning.
What a romantic story.
It is, isn't it? Isn't it?
Did you grow up knowing it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, Vic used to take us on walks up the fly line. I mean, all around Parlington when we were little nippers.
You talk about the fly line, so that
the
is
fly line. That's the old colliery line you were speaking of. It runs between Garforth and Aberford.
And you can remember going up and being told, this is the tree, this is how it was all intertwined. So did you grow up knowing both Vic, who was your grandfather, and Nellie, your grandmother, then?
Oh, yes, yeah. We used to spend most of our holidays there. We lived over in Birkenhead at that stage, on the other coast. Come the holidays, we'd sort of all trot over to Garforth, stay with the grandfolks there. And Vic used to take us on enormous walks. It was really the enormous walks I remember most of my grandfather, all around the area. And one of the favourite ones used to be up through Parlington, up Ladies' Walk. He'd always wander up Ladies' Walk and come back with, in the springtime, those are violets, sweet violets he'd pick up.
He does sound somebody who was really in touch with nature.
He loved it. He loved it. If he wasn't walking, he was gardening. When I knew him as a kid, he was always had his hands in the mud.
Well, you grew up in Birkenhead. You came here often. You're now in Coventry, and because you can't be with us in person, I've got you a little present now. So just have a listen to this, Christopher.
Go on. Oh, that crunching of autumn leaves.
So what I did is just for you, I crunched round Nellie's tree, and that was the sound of me yesterday walking around your grandparents' tree. So there we are.
That's glorious. Yeah.
Little present for you. Why did you make this nomination of Nellie's tree for Tree of the Year?
Well, largely because I think it's such a special tree. It seems to me more like a living sculpture than just a tree on its own. It's a remarkable piece of personal history, both personal history for us as a family, and it's woven its way into folklore, it seems, within the Aberford area, the Garforth area.
Well, so many people do go down and look at it, and you heard me going down that wall, which you will recognise, because if you go to the back, you can see the separate trunks and how they've entwined, but they're together inseparably now, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Well, it was the 1920s that he would have done it, because they were married in 1923. Christmas Eve, that was at St Mary's in Garforth, so it would have been before then. So it would have been about 1920, 21 that he initially put the trees together, and they've been standing ever since. It's remarkable just how long these things last.
So she said yes to him, thankfully, and then
did,
your parents arrived, and then you are the next generation.
There's a following generation too. I mean, we've got we've got grandkids as well now. So
when did they pass away, Christopher?
Yeah.
When was that? How long did they live for?
Well, Nellie died in the 1970s, the late 70s. And Vic lasted on until the 1990s, about 1993, I think it was.
What a lovely story. It would mean a lot to you, wouldn't it? If you, it does make me laugh, the idea of a tree going through to the European Championships, and, sort of warming up on the touchline. But it would mean a lot if it were to win, wouldn't it, to you?
It would, yeah. And I think it means a lot to the local people as well. I mean, the way the people who live around there have actually taken the tree on board. I mean, I've seen photos of little kids climbing on. It's decorated at Christmas. It even gets decorated at Christmas sometimes.
Well, it's lovely. It's known as the Love Tree, I know, by many people. It is Nellie's tree. Nellie was the grandmother of Christopher Lund. It was Vic, your grandfather, who entwined those saplings. If you would like to vote, woodlandtrust.org.uk/tree of the year. Nellie's tree is one of 10 in the running, and as you heard, the only one in Yorkshire. Voting ends a week tomorrow, Sunday, 7th of October, next Sunday. Woodland Trust of the Year. Could go through to the European Championship. So, well, I wish our Yorkshire tree well, and lovely to speak. Thank you very much indeed.